You're welcome. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you all. Thank you for checking in, liking, sharing, and subscribing. It is all very much appreciated. It is going to help get the channel up there again. So let's give a reading for the energies of the week around about from now until whenever we come back to it. But the week ahead, let's look at it as if we're looking at it in that way. This is tarot. It is general. It is intuitive reading with tarot. Take what resonates and leave what does not, and leave a comment as to how the energies are applying to you right now. So I've tried to be a bit more concise with this reading. I've laid out 3 sets for a more spiritual point of view, what is happening on the spiritual, the unseen plane, which that would count for all of that too, not just the traditional sense of what people say is spiritual. We've got the physical with the energies that we're feeling physically down here in this realm, within us and around us. We have because of the times that we're in, and we are in the height of a propaganda war with real consequences. It came to me today that, and I need to get my friend back on, but about 9/11 and the tragedy that was. Lots of people like me have been feeling or warning about another red flag event, another tragic event. And although I've been talking well before about the feelings I was getting about what was coming down the line before COVID quite hit, I was describing that as sort of a separate ongoing World War 2.0, part 2. So it was like a rolling 9/11, really, that I could feel coming. And it came to me today, and it came to me again as I was putting out this separate set of cards for this week, that we are in the height of a much bigger event than 9/11, than many red flag events with real consequences put together. And I don't know enough of the names just right now to reel them off, but you know what I mean. It's been actually a very successful campaign of getting us right into the middle of a psychological propaganda war with very real and fatal consequences and ramifications for life. They've done that. They've gotten us into that place of in the midst of war with us, without us sort of putting it into that context and blinking an eye to it enough. In that this has been their wet dream of 9/11 type events in the planning for so long, so many co-collaborators. So anyway, this is a separate section that I wanted to pull out for this week, trying to be more concise, she says, as she goes off on another tangent. Because we are in the middle of World War III, I absolutely believe that. So it's important to know about the energies that are in power over us right now in this physical realm. For as long as that stands anyway, we need to have an awareness of what is going on energetically with them. Also, the prominent energies, the more abundant energies, to give us as much of a step ahead as possible. Let's face it, we need it, and we need to start doing those steps ahead. So one more thing, you see, they keep us on the chase like that, don't they? Because if you were to gain a few more paces ahead, or if people were going to be listened to, even just people taking a punt on listening, I don't know, to old souls like me, that come back and say these things, even if it's just taking a chance now and on the side of caution, you would think as as a betting man, a betting woman, we would at this point start to learn to take a punt on intuition, a punt on the very thing that would help us get those steps ahead, you see, because you need those paces ahead. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to stop and turn around enough to hold anyone to account, because they're too close up behind you. You haven't got the room and the energetic space to face anything down, because it's up at your heels. So that's that. Let's get into it. So for the spiritual plane, the first card is the Seven of Swords. Now, the Seven of Swords to me spoke of that there is much being transferred and bridged over, and this amalgamation that I've been feeling of spirituality, AI, this separate realm that they've been building, which is on the face value of it, this metaverse, but it goes far deeper than that, which is why I don't think Hollywood is worried or upset in the slightest that it's losing revenue or people say it's finished, because I feel that they've already been transferring their wealth onto what they know to be conduits for both consciousness of living people still in this realm who've managed to consent, compact to uploading enough of their consciousness or giving it all up on a circulation by circulation basis, data wise. They've been selling, they've moved into the data market, and the money that they can be making off AI actors, don't even bother cloning anymore, just stick up an AI actor on a screen, make it look like a few people are greeting them, and hey, oh, presto, they exist, and they're being so good to their fans. It's easy money. So a lot of that has been happening with the spiritual plane, is that it feels like there is a taking energy, a taking, a transferring, a theft of consciousness. Swords are thoughts, consciousness, words, intellect. There's a real, spiritual, intellectual property theft on like a major scale, desperately trying to round off the edges, to box off the corners of spirituality, real consciousness of real people / AI / conduit, that they do not realize that there are many more entities coming through AI, in my opinion, good and bad. Again, the intent, but good and bad, coming through the AI as a conduit, just like our spirit comes through us, and this body becomes the conduit. That's really happening. You can feel it. You can feel that they're closer, those beings that you've maybe come into contact with, or that felt, but still felt quite far away dimension wise, or ability to coexist wise in a very palpable way each and every day. They feel a lot closer, and it's because of this conduit. That's going to open up a whole can of types of spiritual worms, which is then going to fall up into the physical. And so the Page of Swords comes next, but in reverse. So this speaks of it speaks of chitter chatter to me, those energies that I was feeling a while ago, where I was glad to have switched off for other reasons, but one of the reasons being continuing it was realizing the amount of extra chatter there is on the frequency waves, spiritually, but also physically. Even people's own voices through the internet, through their messages, through their videos, through their posts. You can feel them on spiritual plane that is merged into this whole conduit plane of AI, and so you can hear it very similar, or you can feel the energies coming from your phone sometimes in a very similar way as to when you would feel the energies of a spirit or a being of some sort talking to you. So you can feel the frequency, the energies coming off these things. So that is really muddy in the waters, because it feels like a lot of gates have been opened onto the spiritual plane at this time. And not that it hasn't been happening, but it feels like a floodgate opening, and a load of neophytes just flooding the stadium of spirituality, and it's natta, so even there's a sort of pettiness there in that aspect of the spiritual plane. For me anyway, and I hope I'm explaining that in a way that is sort of understandable to those that resonate with these energies, because it's very palpable to me. It's very much there. This kind of like slander and and name calling and seemingly pettiness. A lot of people in a very indoctrinated way of spirituality would say, oh, no, that people are more ascended when they die. Of course they are. Sorry, I had to do that because that's how I feel when people say that. And it's like, no, dear, no. They are not automatically given wings, a harp, and a trumpet at the gates. Pettiness does get through. You do get spiritual energies that are just as descended as they were in life after death, often going around in circles, trapped in their own, bubble of consciousness. Imagine, like, I don't know, bubbles of air coming off a dying corpse, somehow. I don't know how that would happen. Maybe it's a moist room, humid room. I don't know, but picture the bubbles, as the last air gets, exhaled. And the spirit accidentally coming out of the mouth and just getting trapped like a cartoon character in one of these bubbles. Not quite realizing what's happened, like what is this? That kind of energy comes through a lot. So of course the unseen, the spiritual plane consists of all. It has to, otherwise it wouldn't be still filtering down into the physical. But this kind of floodgate opening of a lot of fanatic, extremist neophytes sort of flooding this spiritual plane that is connected with this AI plane. And it's acting like a conduit to the living, being much more present in the dead that they're not ascended to be in the presence of, because they would have too much influence on what filters back down into the physical. So it feels like there's almost like an avalanche of the unseen energies coming through the conduits that we have, the phones, the laptops, and some of that is what you would determine as real spiritual. No such thing, but let's just say for compartmentalization for now. That's mixed in too. This is a real learning curve, I feel, spiritually, and for those who are spiritually aware, it's a real learning curve, I think. It's really interesting, exciting, exhilarating, but like, oh, wow, this is happening, because it'll be interesting to see how that then filters down next week into the physical space, or how we've seen it manifest into the physical space over the week that we're reading for now, coming into the next. to me, this will feel like a lot of people who are doing this unconsciously, uploading these thoughts and like in the conduit of making it into like the spiritual shoot. That's going back to source one way or another, and that filters back down like a circulatory system. We're going to start to see a lot of people. You think the internal attacks and whatnot and the slander and the confusion, what looks like a lie isn't a lie, and what is a lie looks like the light, you know, is very distorted. You're going to see a lot of that hit this week, in the back end of this week, I feel, because it's building. Now we've got the Six of Swords as the next card. Now this gives me some relief to say that there are a lot of you being called to really up the ante, up the scale, you know, of how seriously you're taking your calmness in chaos and creative energies in chaos. How quickly and easily are you, and often are you using that moment to, in amongst all this chaos, which is quite exhilarating to do, I must admit. Maybe this is part of why we keep repeating certain loops, sorry. But see how quick I just dealt with that. So, you know, maybe that's why we repeat these loops, but you know, what was I saying? The Six of Swords, yes, seriousness, intent, about really putting your money where your mouth is, your spirit, you know, where your butt is, bringing the present moment into the root, building it all the way up, you know, really using time and space well, to hold the spiritual wall, if you like, you know, to say, okay, you put yourselves into that little AI thing. Let's just fence you in for a bit, you know, let's just hold the wall. And you do that by going within right now, and finding that spirit world within, being able to see the cosmos in your inner cosmos, really drilling down in your technique to get close with self, to know thyself. The more that you do that, and the more that you're keeping pace then in the physical and transitioning into wherever you go, chaos can be, things can be derailing this end, a car crash can be happening this end, a lover's tiff this side, a kid screaming this side, a war this side, a famine that side. And somehow, some way, you've harnessed yourself enough to be able to give peace and blessings to the people that are involved in that car crash. Zip the lips of the lovers over there, you know, like just with the flush, like a what's the guy that closes his eyes and he directs the music, getting as quick as that, quick, but in intense, deep inner moments. That's a must. And then we have the Six of Cups after that. So we've got the 6 and the 6, 7, 6 and 6, 7, 6, 6. This would speak to feeling your way. You incorporate in feeling like never before. You know, when you go into meditation and you go into that inner source, you go into that inner cosmos, and you start to be able to reach out from within further out than you ever could with your two hands physically. And you get into that space, and you start getting things, but then mind takes over. Too much mind is oldie but a goodie. Too much mind. Feel the messages really. If you think you've mastered feeling enough in the spiritual aspect, think again, go a bit deeper. If you think you've done enough and you can't do no more feeling, go a little bit deeper, you know, like exercise this shit, you know, like be be cool with feeling anything right now, and not allowing those feelings to take over you. But there is so much messaging coming through. The mind that is the subconscious mind. These swords are representative. This Six of Swords in particular is representative of the mind, the thoughts, having already projected just a clear horizon. Waves on either side of the boat, a horizon up front though, and as the boat with the family going in other cards, it's depicted as just the boat just clears the waves, the water settles. So it's one of those cards that, as the Six of Swords card, speaks very deeply to, you can only do that by then engaging the emotions. So the Six of Cups coming there after the Six of Swords is so important to say, when you think you're thinking, drop down deeper into that subconscious abyss. When you think you're there at the bottom of the abyss, again, drop down that bit more, and drop and drop and drop and drop until you feel it. Let the darkness of your subconscious envelop you. Let it caress you. It might feel unnerving because it's so different. It is the abyss. But this is where the dark woman manifest would come from, in that the potentials are all there. And to be able to, it's like when you do meditation like that and you're dropping and you're dropping and you're dropping, it's getting into a non-sensory room. I think that's what you would call them, where none of your senses are allowed to pick up on anything. The room's soundproofed, it's completely dark. But often in those really good, which I would love, non-sensory rooms, they'll have like those bath things, that make sure you can't drown, so your head's out, but you're completely submerged in just warm water, just blood warm water, neither hot nor cold, just so it feels like the water, is it there, is it not there, am I wet, am I not wet, am I dry, but I'm in water. So it sort of steps the brain out of the way while it's thinking on all of those things, and then all of a sudden you just have to feel, and you trust the feeling. And this is when that intuition starts to grow. It's on the back of card combinations like this that intuition, the spirit of intuition, starts to form as a mist on top of that water, the Six of Cups water, and the Six of Swords, which is the subconscious just above it, feeling into it. I hope you're getting this, because it's very, I hope I'm transmitting it in a good way, because it's very deep. It's very close to home for a lot of you in a very beautiful way, almost a weeping way, because it's like return to the waters. These are like sacred ancestral pools of water. The Six of Cups also representing messages being passed down, through emotional ties, so grandmothers, great grandmothers, through the DNA, that holy grail, the fluids in the body that carry that DNA. These are like the deep dark waters where the ancestors can reach you. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Now, on the bottom of the deck, once again, we have the Strength card. Same thing as up here. The Strength card on here, I don't know if you can see it without me pulling it off, but it's a lady on the lion, and she's holding a heart, and out of that heart, the moon shoots up and the sun shoots up. And it's a beautiful depiction, a little bit like the Knight of Cups. She's holding the heart out there. The Knight of Cups is holding the grail, the cup out. And it's about She's wearing a divinities in front of her. She's wearing a divine masculine and divine feminine in front of her. She's not acting from the physical body first. She's acting from a place of gracefulness and poise, strength, because it takes strength to do those things. And she's allowing her more masculine side to take the action where her intuition draws her to have it be taken. And so it's I love that tapestry of it, because I love how she's holding the heart out and she's completely just focused on these divinities. And it's like this week, right in your subconscious, what would my divinity do? And question between the divine feminine, divine masculine, back and forth till you have your intuitive drawn answer. So this strength card depicts the lady holding the, number 8, major arcana, where she's sort of holding the lion's jaws open, or the dog's jaws open on this one, but she hasn't got to put any effort into it. It's just about, I'll hold the action, I'll hold my hunt, I'll hold my bite until it is intuitively right to release the action. I don't know why, but that movie's just come into my head. It's actually one of my favorite movies. What is it? He's the son of the devil, and it's a funny one. Shit, I can't remember it, but he says, "Release the good." It's like that when she's holding the heart out front. Release the good. What is it? It's a ridiculous movie, but I really like it. So we have, as in the physical energies, like in, around you, in close proximity of you, to be aware of. And actually, as far as an energy week goes, especially in the times that we're in, let's face it, it's a pretty good reading, as far as it's got some red flags, but not very many, and there's a lot of healing. So we've got the 6 again, but this is the 6 of Wands, so it's a different 6 again. This is fire. It's now the 6 of Wands is sort of taking his parade. He's taking his victory lap. It's riding the wave of a victory. Now with this, it's before this, you usually would have gone through the 5 of Wands. There's this conflict, there's this not battle, not war, but friction. And often that friction can be enough to get you through, to light the 6th wand into this wave of positive energy. Regardless of what you've been doing thus far, take the energies of this card on and start speaking that victory lap, that win, that result into your physical reality. I mean, drill it home, speak it out, mutter it at the desk, write it down. I don't know, write it on the mirror, like really draw it in, because it's there for the taking, and it's there to be used for your greatness. So it feels like a lot of people also are taking this victory lap, and they're doing it in a way of, I told you this, I was right. Look at you, you shickhole, and things like that. Ignore them. They don't let them take this victory energy away. Say, yeah, good for you. Okay, I'm going to go and win in this direction. Well done, once again. Bye-bye now. Just ignore them. Don't give them any oxygen to their fire. 2 of Staffs. Okay, so where it feels like the world is closing down, actually, I want us all, me included, there's lots of things to undo with me included, to start thinking as they do, but doing it with good intent. horizons are opening up with this Two of Staffs. The world's in your hands, so to speak. This is like the planning phase. This is like the ignition phase. You know, you go into the Three of Wands, and then you're starting to roll into the action phase. But there's a unicorn here in this card. There's foliage. There's the sun going down. A full moon, sorry, a dark night, dark moon on manifest, a dark womb on manifest, i.e., draw your potentials, not out of the things that you've been indoctrinated that are possible, but actually by drilling down with that meditationary six into that emotional six. Take that practice and bring it into the physical by drawing those emotions into your present, no matter what present you're living right now. We all need to be doing this for those that have the ability to do it, and especially those that have the ability to do it with good intent, not for anything else but themselves. Because if they've got good intent and they're following, you know, the universal laws, then it's going to end up doing good for others anyway. So where it feels like the world is closing down, this is where billionaires have learned to cause financial collapses, to cause markets to collapse, like a lot of people just having to leave New York, can't afford it anymore, terrified out of their lives, hounded out of it, I don't know, whatever, but they've emptied that place compared to what it was in the better apartments, especially. You can feel it that they're getting so excited to start buying them up, and they have done already, because this is how they can they soak those things up, you know, a profit, you know, as it stands, because they've made the prices go down. So actually, during this time, this is when billionaires and stuff would take these risks. We've seen them taking these risks over and over again, and it's paid off for them over and over again over the last few years. So this is where we take what's working, but we do it for good intent. And what's working is that if they're not afraid to be taking chances, to be opening businesses, to be building new stores, to be rolling out new drugs, to be doing all of these big things, then it's the best time for us to do so also. To see opportunities where you might have had a dream about setting something up a few years ago, and you've either had other people or yourself talking yourself down into it. There's a lot there on the market, and you could put something out on the market that is exactly the same thing. I'm trying to find the right algorithm for my teas. I am, and for the readings and whatnot. I'm trying to find the right flow of how to gain attention, but actually it's been quite frustrating because the powers that be and the grifters that be that work for the powers that be have taken up a lot of attention, a lot of distractionary energy. So this is where you take that energy back and say, okay, actually, they've caused things to change with these various collapses that they've caused. The ground is shaky, but when the ground is shaky, the most niche products can be put on the market that are very similar to another product that floods the market, but because it's got that twist, that niche, it's got that X factor, and it's got that X factor because somebody's been wild enough or out of the restricted mind enough into their subconscious enough, into that dark womb and manifest to draw down the potentials, literally like he is from the black sky, into his world. So take of that what you will. With that kind of energy going forward, we've got the Nine of Pentacles as the next card, 6 in the right way up. Again, 9 being the realm of all possibilities. If you think of Tesla, the 3, the 6, the 9. And this is where the Pentacles here is earth, home, money, property. Now, for me, there's something here about owning physical things. Money is the unseen. it's been becoming the unseen money as it is being transferred to be something we talked about. A lot of you'll remember years back. This, I feel them doing these transfers of things, monetary in the monetary system. This is where it would be. I would say in minerals, in like premium bond type stuff. We have premium bonds over here. Minerals, gold, silver, property, of course. Try and make sure that property, if you're lucky enough to be in that position thus far, try and not get it next to any reservoirs that they could, in future years, you know, either poison or try and what do you call it when they secunda, is it? Not secunda, give a forced sale. So anybody who's looking for land and you've seen something that is close to something like that, it's beautiful, but I would dodge it. I would go for another option where there's more of a natural river, a natural stream. I know the potentials are still there, but for whatever reason, I'm feeling led to say that. So there'll be less potentials there than there is in the other one. Now, but it's about abundant energy. So it's also about adorning yourself as if you're already in the place that you're manifesting to be in the physical. So adorn yourself, take time to preen yourself, to do those ritual baths. I did a session with a ritual bath cleanse just the other night, and it was so beautiful. It was so just guiding them through over the phone, and it was such a intoxicating ride to be along with them because it was such a powerful ritual. Again, submerging in the waters. Submerge yourself in waters when you're meditating, please, because some of you are going to come back to me with huge revelatory experiences that have blown your mind and have been there for you to just discover. Remember, drop into that dark pool. Now the 10 of Wands comes up, but I want it to be this way. So you can see this guy isn't getting far fast. You know what came to mind? Hollywood, again, you know, when they, or you think they're walking up a building, but actually they've just done something to the camera. So it's actually flat and the actor's just sort of pretending to struggle. This is what this is like in this position. The 10 of Wands would speak to an arduous cycle, a cycle that's had a lot of sticks to hold, a lot of plates to spin, and it's been a bit of a chaotic time in that this guy hasn't even used any rope to sort of tie them up right in the middle so they stay together and easy to put over his shoulder. It's like making work of the dramas in life, making even though they're dead and gone, the flames have extinguished, but this person's still trying to give the illusion in this energy of carrying them up a hill that doesn't even exist either. And it's speaking to a lot of this illusion. So it's speaking to some people pretending to struggle. The other thing that's coming to mind is that, and this isn't going to be liked by many, but you know how I've spoken about victimhood in the past a lot, because the powers that be make sure to hide their ethos and their mission under religion, under the guise of what they have created to be victims in history, and they feed that victimhood. And so there's a few in each community that they do this to, that then want to maintain that victimhood. And so you can't say anything about it regarding anything, because if they you know, the first letter of my name, then you can't say you parked your car wrong, and you know, because if you would hit on one of those people who enjoyed the cloak of victimhood, they would say, you can't say that to me because I'm a Jennifer, you know, that kind of thing. It's what's happened, and it's not to degrade any one type of person that affiliates with any, you know, origin, but it's about the fact that they do this in Christianity, they do it in all of the religions, all of the missions, you know, the Black Lives Matter, they've done it in this white supremacist, like, you know, white men are victims, and so there's a lot of that. So the real discussion of the tactics can't be talked about, because there's a lot of people that are enjoying carrying these dramas up the hill in the most, like, come on, you're not even acting very well, you know. You don't look like James Bond at this point. You're just carrying an inordinate amount of baggage that doesn't even have a fire anymore. It's like you're just carrying it because, I don't know, you've told yourself that this makes you a hero or a good person. So there's some people around, some of you like that you're dealing with. One thing I want to say is some people are more dangerous than they look, because they've learned to adapt to whatever 10 of wands it is, whatever cloak of victimhood it is that they want to adapt to. We've seen that play out in the transgender thing in the prisons in America, I think Australia, here in the UK, where, you know, predators of women are all of a sudden just saying before sentencing, no, I identify as, without any of the operation or anything like that, and they're being put in female prisons. We've just had a big hoo-ha about a predator who, thankfully, I think didn't get to go to stay in the prison, but, you know, being put in with vulnerable women. They've worked that out, and a lot of these people who are predators are very switched on. They're very honed in for the very reason that they are more driven than most people, because they have a specific requirement that makes them have to look out for cues and ins and nooks and crannies of your life, you know, wherever they can find it, and they log things. Now, listen, I've got, you know, the children that are on a spectrum, I think a fabulous spectrum, because, and I'm not saying all of it is easy or fabulous, no way, but I'm very blessed in the way that, you know, William is very high functioning, very intelligent, and, you know, sort of peculiarly cute and funny and quick. So I'm not saying anything that, you know, is meant for hate. I'm actually saying in defense of once again, a type of peoples that actually we should want to learn more about once again. Like I feel the ancients knew just intuitively. They've got key things that they can hook into, doors and windows that they can see through that others can't. It's you know, I would want there to be even more attention, even more inquiries, inquisitive minds looking at it, you know, and discovering how to have things in the physical that harness these minds at their best. But there are quite a lot of people that are hiding under the cloak of autism and such like. There are quite a few mothers who, in my opinion, are no worse, no better than having the old term, I've forgotten what they call it now, but Munchausen by proxy, where they actually enjoy, and for a lot of the part, don't want a real diagnosis. They push and push and push till they get the diagnosis that they want. And they are actually enjoying living under the cape that they put over their children. Oh, no, you can't say that because such and such is, but he was fine with me saying that. No, you can't talk to him directly, but I wasn't looking in his eyes. We were just talking. He was talking back, you know, that kind of. So some of you have got people like that around you now. Some of you have got people like that around you just as adults that have grown up with mothers like that. I'm not saying like all these people, but if you're resonating with this, there are some people walking under that cape of victimhood that are very dangerous. Very dangerous. And toxic. They'll have everybody around them carrying a load or watching them, better still, pretend to carry this load on a pretend wall that is actually a flaw, that they're not struggling at all. It's unnerving because it's like, how did we get to that space, where people want to be? It's because it was made easy, I suppose. So it was made alluring that way. But it takes away from the people that we do need to incorporate more and understand more, and be able to communicate in different ways more with. So the star card comes up anyway after that long tangent that came out there for whoever needed to hear it. Now, the star card is another major arcana. I think we've got a major arcana on each one. So the star card here, where can you see? You've seen it before, but I mean, she's the naked figure. The stars above her. A lot of people will say the Pleiadian sisters, but there's this healing, there's this star family type, your origin, your stardust, literally, your true organic self, as above, so below, and as within, so without. And she creates this circuit board with a jug being poured into this pool of consciousness, and she's creating the ripples in there with her foot. I suppose embracing, like we spoke about, embracing the feelings, embracing the vibrations that she's making trickle through her, through her feet, and she's feeling her soul through her soul. Now the other soul is sort of facing up, but the toes are connected to the ground, and the knee is connected to the ground. And I suppose you could say the new age rip-off lately of taking the knee is, to really submit to self, to really be true to self. There's nothing to hide here. There's just things to understand here. There's things to release here. There's things to transmute here. And some things are just to be felt here. But there's nothing hidden. There's nothing cloaked. She's naked. And she's at one and she's not looking at anything else other than to create this beautiful circuit board of energy and frequency. Having all of the elements around her, really, the stars, the fire, the water, the earth, with the minerals in the earth and the air that she's breathing. So that's a beautiful card in that there's a lot of you coming into this energy this week. And in a way, this slight physical block of an energy where there's so much success in these first cards with the Six of Wands, the Nine of Pentacles, Two of Wands clarifying, and then the Star card. I mean, beautiful, but then there's this damn thing in the middle that insists on being on its side. And again, it's about clearing out those that are representative of that around you, especially if they're cloaking themselves as victims. There's nothing you can do about that, but it's blocking that energy from the Nine of Pentacles to the Major Arcana, the beautiful Star card, where there's this true quantum leap in healing, in being able to transmute energies and being able to be that organic self, to literally connect soul to soul, and create a circuit board of self-love, self-care, self-interpretation, self-identity, ironically, which is why they're deliberately ripping off identity and individualism, and causing it to be a problem with a lot of these societal triggers right now, because this is so important to know that this is to know thyself in the deepest possible way, and to continue doing that, to never stop doing that. That's the integral part of the journey. You're the map. You're the saga that goes on to seed more time capsules of space and time and physical presence. It's a beautiful energy. So why the fuck is this damn thing blocking here? And the other thing is that the energies on the outside of you is there are many people in this position, both with not bad intent, but not good intent towards self, but almost trying to do or look, still thinking they've got to look like they're doing the right thing. So they're just going to carry that bag, carry that load anyway. And it's like, no, you're blocking this divine soul to soul source healing, uploading of frequencies of Akashic records in real time and downloading what is needed in real time. It's like that's being blocked, and it's only being blocked by, it's a 10. It's all but done. It's all but been written. You know, whatever is as it is, stands as it is now. But if it's a block, move out the way. You know, like, bitch, move out the way, bitch. It is what it is kind of energy. You don't need any more clarification on that. The 8 of Cups is on that deck on the bottom though, and that would be to emotionally depart and leave. Another 8 with that Strength card. Depart and leave, you know, the present state, you know, like emotionally let go. Do the Star card, get that block out of the way. It's useless. It's pointless at this time. 2 of Swords on the bottom of this deck. Now this would speak to, again, you can see she's blindfolded. She has the 2 of Swords across her heart space. She's got both feet planted firmly on the ground, and she's on a very firm throne, but she's blindfolded herself to do that non-sensory thing, to stop these 2 eyes thinking too much, to really tune in these years, because the sight takes over that a lot and distorts a lot of the things that we're getting, to really tune into these years, into the inner ear, into the inner canal, deeper, really hearing the tones and frequencies in people's words. The Swords being her thoughts, and this would be to which direction to take. I'm going to do that 6, beautiful 6 of Swords with that 6 of Cups here, which was on the spiritual plane, and I'm going to transmute it into physical manifestation of choosing the right direction via intuition and not too much mind. 7 of Swords there too. It's good. It's good. So as far as what the bastards are up to, let's have a look and see just quickly, not keep you too much longer. So we've got the Knight of Pentacles. I love this card. Can't really, I need to do color. But you know, is the strategic mind, but is the planner. Plans ahead. Obviously, we know that. Now this plans ahead in this energy. He's trying to keep a hold of this beast, of this horse that is looking on the side of being ready to bolt in the energy that I'm feeling it in right now. And so there's levels of control here that's needing to be managed, micromanaged, unbelievably so. And so that is an obvious one, but it's good to know that it's quite it's the first energy out. It's a prominent energy of planning, and subsequently a very easy slip of the head collar to make that horse bolt, and that plan B just have to be kiboshed, because I mean it's out there, but you know the horse is bolting. It's like it's spreading the message quickly. There's something to do about housing in London in particular, but as far as a greater buy-up is concerned, there's something very much to big changes happening in London. Now, London's a weird place. Like the Queen would have to ask invitation to go into a certain square in London. It's much more than they let us know. And there's much more to say on that. I'm just not going to go into that. It's not my area of expertise or care, but it's a magical square for sure that is The pact with the queen is that it's a ritual thing, is that it's a respect thing, that she's asking to enter into the chambers of the more masculine space, her as their previous goddess. They would absolutely always say yes. But it's that compact. They're doing it in a more of a spiritual compact than anything else, that then has physical ramifications on how she can be separated from, or she could be separated from, obviously, a lot of prosecutions, while dirty business still got done in London. But there's something different. There's a shift about London this week in planning permissions, that something is going to come out about that, of either a big buy-up by one or two conglomerates of properties, or some quite despicable planning permissions going on, regarding housing in particular. Take of that what you will. So we've got the Knave of Pentacles. This is like the Queen of Pentacles in this deck, and so you can see here, she's got her etchings on the stone. This is the businesswoman. This is the delegator. This is the mother, the businesswoman, the delegator. This is about, and it's funny the Queen came up, because I wasn't really thinking of her, but something about the Queen's, the handing down of that to Charles is not going so smoothly. It feels like there's been some almost backdoor worries, even from his own mother, but most of all the planning of those that she would have had around her. That there's just certain things that are off, that are not joining up, regarding him being finally deemed in the next ritual as the king. The plans for all of the ritual content isn't going well. It's not, things aren't being given up freely to him. There's blocks there. Now, funnily enough, when I was a kid and being dragged through the church system, there was always a prophecy by actually one of the good ones, one of the really, really good pastors. And he felt like an ancient dinosaur when I was a kid, but he lived for a long time, and he was very in tune. He was very intuitive, and I would probably say, the better caliber of Christian, even though he was very much a Christian, he would be the type that wouldn't say, "Oh, I'm a Christian." Like you would only know it through his actions, not through stating it like a badge on his sleeve. And he always had a prophecy. So this is like 30 years ago. I was like a kid. The prophecy about King Charles, Prince Charles, should never become king. It would be horrendous for the world. Just horrendous. I don't know. There's some things about that, and it's weird that he's coming up in my mind's eye now. It's actually a fond memory of him. But it was a very prominent message of his. It was a repetitive message, that we should do everything in our power to make sure that he is not the next king. And by that, like, literally have intercession sessions, prayer sessions to block that. And the quote, which is there, as if we're worse than a church. So we've got the King of Cups next. Now, this King of Cups is sort of raising his cups up to the Queen here. Now, there's something about this underground for sure. Oh, come on, show. See, he's sort of raising his cups up to where the Queen is situated here, that is sort of looking down to him. Now, he's the king of emotions. He's the king of emotional intelligence, and actually such emotional intelligence that this energy here is a very high standing, I feel, in the spiritual community, on the upper echelons, if you like. Like the the old John Dee type energy, you know, a warlock, you know, he's respected, but because he's the Queen of Cups, King of Cups, because he's able to really charge and use his emotions as any other tool of himself. He is this is very deep ritualistically, and it feels like this will be played out in some way, either through a concert, through a statement, or through something where you think that was it. That's when they did that behind the scenes. What we saw is what we saw, but behind the scenes, this is when there was a absolute reverence given to this physical queen on the physical plane that is channeling an entity. It's quite strange to look at the cards and feel the energies of that, but you know, as far as ritual goes, it feels like very you know, intense ritual, magic wise. It feels very alchemy wise more than anything. Now the Five of Swords comes out after that, and I don't like this because this is where, you know, you can see here these darker skinned males are tied up with their hands behind their back. The arrows depicting the swords being taken off them. And you know, they're very Aboriginal looking. Native, that because it's a mix, and these cards are like a little bit more watercolor, but they're trapped, and there they are in their beautiful robes, very close knit. They've got the same feather. They've been a group of people that have been working together and gathered up, so to speak. Now, I don't like this card because I'm not one, as any of you know that follow me for a while, I'm not one for like big, if there's not a big, you know, fan dabby doso, you know, event, or like, which I'm not going to embellish, but to me that feels real. One, it feels very real on this ritual is supposed to have a physical effect on entrapping or delivering a certain law or rule that entraps people of a minority even more. But two, and for the most horrific part, it feels to me real in that there is this level of ritual, feels like there is a level of sacrifice there. You know, I'll not say the first word, but it feels like there's a level of that. And that makes me very sad. Now, we've got the High Priestess card on the bottom of the deck here. Now, this is through your thoughts, your words, your deeds, you create your reality. Now, this is a very adorned High Priestess. I'm not going to go into this too much here. This is the underpinning energy of the card. This is the entity that is being channeled through whoever this woman is, that is being praised in this ritual. This is a very powerful, very dominant feminine energy, and it's coming through very much so. It's been brought in during this ritual, and this master in the physical plane knows that she's to be worshipped, knows that if he wants to be in cahoots with this entity, he doesn't mind submitting and being the master explorer of it through this physical woman that this one is coming through, and submitting fully because of the power of this entity. So, you know, I'm not going to go too far into that actually on here. You get the gist. I'm already on lists, I think. So those are the energies of the week. Hoo-wee! I think the voice just about held out. I feel like the spray in the skies constantly at the minute, and I can feel it just here. So that's the energies of the week. Let me know how you're getting on. Let me know what you thought of the reading. Let me know if you like this setup a little bit more. I don't think it worked as well as I had in my head it was going to work. I thought I was going to go on less tangents, but the tangents are part of the message. So I was going to say, let me know if you thought I did a better job at being more concise. I probably didn't, but I like the setup. I might try it again next week. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how I feel. You can let me know if you want. I might take it on board or I might not. Sometimes when you get into the flow and things come through, you can't stay on that. Some people can. I need to try it. But not today. I love you all. Mwah, much love. Thank you so much for being here. Please go onto the Etsy store. It'll be in the link in the description box below. Have a check out of Divinity on Facebook if you're on there, on True Divine on there. I'm doing business on there, you know, at the most, leaving the odd message on there. You know, I've not been comfortable on there for the longest time. It's for business, really. So if you want to get in touch with me about anything like that, business related, please share the videos on there. That really does help. But you can check out all of my other things that are in the description box below if you want to book in for a reading, truedivinemedia@gmail.com, or you can message me at the True Divine page after liking it, of course, on Facebook. That would be much appreciated. Mwah. Wholeness. Rock the week, rock it, like get into that intent and rock it for all it's worth. Take all of the potentials and just just like push it out. Like, let's hold this space, let's hold this energy and hold the progression of this darker energy without good intent, to just hold the line by doing nothing else but seeking your own greatness and your own understanding of self, because that is going to be the ultimate brick in the auric wall that will be built if enough people are doing that. So do it. You know, let me know what you've attained, what things have dropped into your lap this week when you've drawn that energy in to then project it out. I love hearing things like that. I love hearing the successes of riding the energetic waves. Now it's wholeness.